Hey everyone, I'm Abby. I'm a professional musician specializing in percussion. We're here at LA Percussion, and I love collecting instruments. So let's check out the very cool family of instruments today called Angklung. Angklung, an ancient instrument from Indonesia, specifically West Java, made out of bamboo. There are a variety of bamboos that are used. Essentially, it's resonating tubes, like so many other percussion instruments. They are cut in a specific manner, which actually helps them resonate. The frame allows the player to, let them sound without having to dampen the thing that's actually making the sound. Each one of the tubes actually has these little legs that were carved out. These legs are the point of which the actual sound occurs, the actual hitting of the frame. Check out this clip from a Legend of Zelda tribute film called Majora's Mask, Terrible Fate. It actually uses some of this set of Angklung. You can hear Angklung in Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Land of the Lost, The Sand Pebbles, Star Trek, it was actually in the Klingon theme, and the TV series Kung Fu. I'll post links to these in the description. Have you heard Angklung anywhere? Leave it in the comments below and I'll check it out. Let's talk about Angklung in terms of the Western scale and some of the tunings that you'll see. You can have like two in unison, same note. Here are two of the same note but different octaves. Three notes, one of the lower octave and two of the higher octave. Three notes, all the same note but three different octaves. And then sometimes an actual triad, like a chord. Sometimes you'll see people playing individual ones, or maybe a couple of them. And sometimes you'll even see them on big racks. Sometimes you'll see them on racks actually suspended upside down. That's called Angklung towel. They actually use this kind of like rubber band type of material to make it so the Angklung don't swing around as much on the sand. It makes for quicker, more agile playing when you actually have a whole set of them lined up. These instruments right here, we got these from Emil Richards. Now, Emil Richards was extremely well known for having this gigantic instrument collection. That is where these Angklung and more are from. Years ago, I did some phone interviews with Emil, and I asked him about where he got these Angklung.
The first time I got them was in 1962. Alan Ferguson went to Indonesia. He brought back 4 of them, and I freaked out over them, and little by little, I start turning all the composers onto them. That whole set of really small ones and very large ones, most of the ones you have. And everybody started using them right away. They loved them. On chase scenes and stuff, if you just rattle them along with what's going on in the orchestra, that's what they kind of dug,
So Angklung over time, especially here, they crack. This is a pretty big crack. Check out how bad this sounds. So I wanted to see if I could fix this crack and show you what I do. I use this tire glue. So this is actually for like model, like race car tires. And I use this rapid setter. So let's see if we can fix this crack. Go ahead and spray that. You'll see cracks essentially up in this top area or way at the bottom, or sometimes both. Getting there. So tuning Angklung is actually pretty interesting. If you want to go flatter, so your note is sharp, you're going to actually want to remove a little bit of this part of the outer tube. And if you want to go sharper, then you're going to take off a bit of the top. This note right here is actually sharp. It's supposed to be an F. So I have like a rotary tool here. So in Indonesia, they actually use like a knife. I feel more comfortable doing this. see where it's coming out. So yeah, it's coming out a little bit, but I still got a ways to go. There it is. Here we have an A, well, it's supposed to be an A, but it needs to go sharper, so it's actually a bit low. So for that one, you take off some of the top. This is the metal version of Angklung. This is an instrument that came about in the early 1900s, and it's actually from the Deegan Company. The owner and founder of the Deegan Company was John Calhoun Deegan. And I'm sure if you're a percussionist, you probably have or know about the Deegan Company with a, usually a big stamp on the bottom bar. Deegan was this kind of like nerdy science music guy, and he was really into acoustics, and he kind of made it his thing to get into the science of music and science of acoustics and take that knowledge and try to improve instruments and further develop them. He even invented this thing called the Deegan-o-meter, which is essentially what we use as like a strobe tuner today. In 1910, he persuaded the American Federation of Musicians to make A equals 440 for tuning as the standard. Deegan took other instruments, which he called novelty instruments, and essentially that means that they're instruments that perhaps at that point didn't really have like a full tune set of them, but he made a full tune set of them, like he did a set of tuned sleigh bells. Now, he didn't call them metal angklung, he called them aluminum chimes. There's also another instrument that is similar to this called organ chimes. On each one of these, it rings 3 of the same note, 3 different octaves. The organ chimes that are out there are actually 4 of those, and this is 3 of them, and the 3 are called aluminum chimes. Rumor has it that Deegan actually got the idea for these when he went to the World's Fair in 1893 in Chicago, and he saw an Indonesian ensemble playing, and I'm sure he saw Angklung. By the way, this was an important World's Fair in 1893 because it was for this event that brownies were invented. Look at those guys. We got these Angklung, I think I've been saying it wrong the entire time, from Emil Richards also. He said that this old guy came and approached him in the 1980s and was like, "Hey, got a set of metal Angklung. You want them?" And he opened up his trench coat and there they were. That whole term like metal Angklung is kind of Emil's terminology, which we've kind of taken on, and frankly it's a little more correct because it basically is metal Angklung. The composers love them, and I can totally see why, because they're pretty awesome. Emil actually, had these in a bunch of scores. He worked with composers, and they ended up in a whole bunch of different movies and whatnot. And I actually found some of my own as well. So you can hear them in Mission Impossible 3, the movie Ratatouille, Lost, the TV show, the movie The Incredibles, and also in the Tom Waits song, Shore Leave. Check out this short video we have of Emil playing the metal Angklung. You'll recognize the first part of it if you watch Lost, the TV show. When I interviewed composer Michael Giacchino, he spoke affectionately about the Angklung.
When I started doing Lost, I knew I wanted interesting and strange sounds. There was this push to kind of make it sort of traditional and use more the things you would expect to hear when you're, something that revolves around the jungle. Mm-hmm. And I remember not exactly knowing what to put on the score. So I remember one of the things I did was I wanted to try out some Angklungs. I hadn't used them before. And traditionally those things are wooden, You know, they're all, and you hold them and you do this. And he said, "Oh, I have a set that's metal." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Okay, bring it in." And the second I heard it, I was like, that is it. That's the sound. We're going to use that on every episode. It's going to be on everything. And it just really became one of the signature sounds of the show. Everyone talks about the trombone fall off. But when I think of Lost, one of the things I think of most is when he would grab the Angklungs, the metal Angklungs, and just grab them in a cluster and shake them.
Yeah.
It created this really unnerving sound, which I then went to use on many other things too. But really, it belongs to Lost in my mind. So you can play it melodically, and we rarely did. We always used them more as an effect. So he was. His impact on film music, immeasurable, and anyone who worked with him was lucky to have that experience, because he did nothing but make whatever they did better.
So, have you heard this sound before in any movies, film, TV? Leave it in the comments below and I'll check it out. So if you like what I'm doing here, subscribe and hit that bell, because that action actually allows me to make more videos. So you can check us out on social media and our website. Those links will be in the description.